This is Del Miller at BlackBizPro.com. We believe in connecting the community one business at a time, and together we will all prosper. This is the first in a series of interviews with business owners from the Canadian landscape, and we will be talking to Dorothy of Mina Danielle Designs, and she will be telling us all about her business, her loves, and her joys. Enjoy.
My name is Dorothy Attakora. Attakora Jen. I usually just go by Attakora though. I am a Ghanaian. I hail from the Ashante region of Kumasi, Ghana. But I currently reside in Toronto. I've been here since 1992. I am the creative director as well as the creator of Mina Danielle Designs, which is an afrocentric clothing line that was started in 2009. We do exclusive afrocentric creations, and most of it comes from the continent. We work in Ghana as well as in Kenya, and everything is featured, whether it's, the different vibrant batiks. We also work with kente, we work with tie-dyes, and different wax prints as well as lace. So those are some of the different fabrics that we work with, but we also like to explore other parts of the continent outside of just Ghana. So Kenya, we just imported some stuff from Nigeria as well too, and great too.
Yes.
And I don't know, I think ever since I was young, the thought of showing up to something wearing the same outfit, the same design as somebody else just does not sit well with me. Maybe I'm known a little bit as a nonconformist, so I just never really liked the thought of it. So since I was young, I've been looking into different designs and creating my own dresses for different events. I did my own design for graduation, grade 8 graduation, grade 12, university, prom, all of that. I really am into fashion in that sense as well. I think my grandmother sorry, I'm getting emotional. Today's her birthday, so I'm a little bit, emotional about it. That was random. I wasn't expecting it.
How was she connected to Mina Danielle?
So when I moved to Canada, my grandmother was the one who would always send clothing up for me. She was a seamstress in her hometown. In her house, she would teach other women in the community how to sew. So there's a lot of young women, well, they're older now, in Ghana who learned how to sew from her, and she would help them start their own businesses, and that was her thing. And ever since I came to Canada, that was kind of the way we would stay connected. She would always make clothing. She would send it for me, kente. And I think growing up, especially in Canada, being, raised and living amongst majority white neighborhoods, I don't think at that time I really appreciated it. But that was our bond. That was our connection. She would always make the most beautiful dresses. Usually there's a stereotype that old people kind of have old fashioned, and that's not my granny at all.
What's her name?
Dorothy.
Dorothy. So you're named after your grandmother then?
Yeah.
Nice.
So her name is Dorothy Osei. That's my mother's maiden name. She's my mom's mom. She had 9 beautiful children. They're all really, really successful, do well for themselves, amazing human beings. So I think, in retrospect, I would attribute my passion for the bright colors, even though at that time I might not have appreciated it. I definitely attribute a lot of it, her planting that seed.
So you were telling me earlier that there's significance in the name Mina Danielle. Could you tell me again where that name comes from?
So when I first started this, I really wanted, my background is not originally in fashion. I didn't go to fashion school. My background is originally not in business. So but it's something I'm very passionate about. So I had to try to find a way to still make this mine, and infuse it with creative elements that are still authentic to me. So what I did is just in the different elements, just try to have as many creative elements as possible that kind of remind me of home. Like I'm a homebody. I love family. And so Mina Danielle is actually the middle names of two of my little cousins. And as I told you, when I was growing up, I would spend my summers in New Jersey
Yes.
with my aunt, babysitting my cousins during the day. And we would always do arts and crafts. Like, I love arts. So we'd always end up doing arts and crafts to keep them busy. And by the end of the summer, we'd always have a catalog. Like, the most amazing catalog. And take in mind, these were young girls. Like, when I first started going, I think they were 3 and 6. So we'd have different designs, the colors at the end, what sizes they come in, all of that. And we would crack jokes about, one day when I'm older, I'm going to be a designer. And we would always, always say that. So when I had the opportunity to start this, it felt right to be able to have that tribute to them. They're, to my favorite little cousins, and they're so inspiring. And so, yeah.
So far, does this sound very much like a family-inspired business? You also mentioned that there's a social side to this, and you mentioned certain collaborations have partnerships with. Could you tell us some more about that?
Yes. So I think in 2006 was my first trip that I did to Kenya. And during that trip, we worked with a lot of children's homes with vulnerable children, children that had lost, parents to HIV or AIDS. And that was the first time I had ever come face to face with HIV. I think here in the West, there's an erasure of HIV. We don't often talk about it. It's taboo. We're not supposed to talk about sex, period. And so that first trip for me was huge. It was magnanimous. The women that I met, the children, it was just, I think that summer has in my life left one of the biggest impacts. And I took on HIV as one of my passions. So what I did is when I came back, it made me shift. In school, I was doing psychology and I switched into sociology and global studies. And I've kind of always had a passion for global studies, social justice, international development, all of that. So when I started this, again, trying to make it as authentic to me as possible, it made sense to be able to work with some of those women there. So yeah, that's how it started. Whenever I would go, I would purchase the prints, come up with the designs, and just sit there, talking to them. They would teach me how to sew, share stories. Especially in Kenya, they would tell me about the different prints, what they were called, what parts of Kenya it comes from, or where it's imported from internationally. And it was just a bonding experience between myself and the women. And those are the elements that I cherish about this. And so it's important that I give and contribute back to my community, and have them be involved and engaged in this, and just really work with them to bring the designs to life. Because again, I don't do any of the sewing. I exclusively just do the prints, like the designs, and then they're the ones who just bring all of my creations to life. And without them, I really couldn't run this at all.